وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين وبعد ولعنة دائما على أعدائهم أجمعين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم قيام الدين. قال جل جلاله في محكم كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فأما إن كان من المقربين فروح وريحان وجنات نعيم. آمنا في الله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم. On the sad remembrance of course, the martyrdom of Abdullah al-Hussein and all those who stood with him on that great, even though sad occasion, but a day in which changed, as you know, history. And it's something like this that reminds me that whenever we connect ourselves to a certain environment, or we know a certain individual that has some kind of aroma, or some kind of status that magnifies or draws the attention of people, then that shows you that that person has some kind of charisma or something that's divine that brings people towards him. And that's why the environment in which we place ourselves into is great importance. For instance, how many of us are invited to a barbecue? Even though sometimes we don't even get involved in the actual barbecue process itself, we might even take a seat somewhere far. But after a while, you find that the smell of the barbecue, because you're in that environment, the smell of the barbecue has an effect on you, has an effect at least on your clothes. So, and basically, any environment, we have many environments, people that enclose themselves in a place where there's a type of smoke, usually smokers, or any type of essence that's very strong, it usually rubs off or is absorbed by those who are close by them. But of course, this type of absorption of whatever smell it is, it's easily fixed. You usually go home, someone tells you that you've been close to a barbecue or you've been close to a fire, you either have a shower or change of clothes. Very easy. But sometimes the environment itself that you're in not only affects the physical part of you, but affects the spiritual part of you. You might not see it automatically or straight away, but sometimes, and it's been proven psychologically, that the environment in which we expose ourselves to, that we pick up habits. These habits might be good, or these habits, God forbid, are bad. For instance, an environment in which there's no remembrance of God, an environment in which there is, God forbid, backbiting and ghiba, namima, and spying, and dhun, all these, vices. Whether you like it or not, being part of the environment, first of all, the environment becomes an evil or satanic environment, and that bits that you thought were of no available or no effect on you, all of a sudden become. Then you find yourself that you're in an environment and all of a sudden a word comes out, you don't even know where it came from. That's why, unlike the clothes where you can go and change yourself and have a shower, when you have spiritual vices, it's very hard to get rid of. It's very hard to get rid of. Like honestly, you have to, this soul of yours or this nafs that tries to always take you off the path, especially when it's not fed the correct food, it will look for other means. If it's not fed divine knowledge, divine attributes, it will look for other means. You can't say that I don't want to eat, for instance. Sooner or later, you're going to get hungry. You're going to eat whatever is available there and then. You're going to eat it. Even if it's rubbish, you'll eat it. Why? Because you're used to that type of environment. When Isa, ala nabiyina wa alihi wa alayhi salam, he says, when his companions tell him, who should we hang around with? He says to him, associate with people that when you look at their faces, they remind you of God. They remind you of God. You know, and that's why we say, many of you understand that when the hadith says, النظرة إلى وجه العالم عبادة. That even just by looking at the face of a scholar, it's worship. And then he says, what else, oh Jesus, or Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salam, he says that their talk increases your knowledge. Their talk increases your knowledge. What type of knowledge is this? Knowledge of the stock market, or knowledge of what's going on in the world in terms of other financial aspects? Or is it knowledge that benefits you not only in this world, but most importantly in the hereafter? About the knowledge that we should absorb on this point, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi was once walking to a mosque, and he comes across a people that were hanging around a certain person. They said to him, who is that? He said to them, who is that person? They said, it's some kind of scholar that knows, or alim that knows about the days of the Jahiliyyah, and he can tell you the lineage of your ancestry. So the Prophet says to him, that knowledge is of no use to anyone. Even if someone wasn't present here, it's not going to be available. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ tells them what knowledge is available, what knowledge is needed for the person to be of the ones that are of the muqarrabin, the one that verse I used. He said, first of all, he goes, ayatun muhkamatun. First of all, this is very important. He goes, an ayah. Usually an ayah, of course, from the Quran, that is of wisdom. And all the ayat in the Quran of wisdom. Then he says, وَفَضِيلَةً عَادِلَةٌ, or fardan adilatun. That it's a fard, of course, something that we do on a daily basis with justice in it. And then he says, وَسُنَّةٌ قَائِمَةٌ. A sunnah is a practice that you keep doing and you consistently do it. These are the three important parts of knowledge that will bring you of the muqarrabin. When Luqman tells his son, he says, oh my son, when you look at people, look at the ones that have the dhikr of God. Hang around them. He goes, why? His son tells him, why? He says, because at least you'll benefit from him. And if you have that knowledge already, they will revise it for you. And he tells him something very important. He goes, it might be that when they're in this environment, when God sees that these people are in the environment, He bestows upon them nur, or knowledge. And because you're part of the environment, you also absorb that knowledge. He goes, don't hang around people of ignorance. He goes, first of all, you're not going to succeed of anything of him. Secondly, he tells him that God forbid that if you're around these people, because they are people of ignorance, if God was to send down His wrath upon them, you'll be part of that environment that also absorbs that wrath. So what we're trying to understand here is to be of the muqarrabin. The verse in which I read at the start, فَأَمَّا إِنْ كَانَ مِنَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ فَرَوْحًا وَرَيْحَانًا وَجَنَّةُ نَعِيمٍ. That when God says this, the rawhan or rayhan, this stuff, do you know what that is? It's, of course, in English, it's very hard to translate it. Basically, it means that if you're of the close one, God not only makes your life happening and gives you rizq, but your smell. And when I talk about the smell, it's not your physical smell. It's the actions that come in within yourself that comes out that draws the attention of people, just like the fragrance does. So you'll have this heavenly aroma, as they say. In another verse in the Quran, in Surah Ar-Rahman, where God says, وَالْحَبُّ ذَا الْعَصْفِ وَالرَّيْحَانِ. There you go again. There's that word again. That He talks about this seed of musk and fragrance. Why? Why does God use these phrases? Because He's saying that anything that is attributed to me has that nice essence and smell. And for us of lovers of Ahlul Bayt, when we attribute ourselves to people that are made from heaven, that people that have a heavenly divine, then that smell should be, or would, if you do it properly, if you be in that presence and you take in that knowledge, then you will smell as well as those heavenly people. And no greater smell that you can get, and no other great friends, is that of the love of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And that's why even the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi when he used to say that I used to love to smell Fatima al-Zahra salawatullah wasalam alayhi, because she used to remind him of heaven, because she was from the essence of heaven. In another, we have a beautiful hadith to show you that even the physical aspects of great individuals like Al-Hasan or Al-Hussein alayhi salam, that the Prophet would always tell people, he wanted to show people what they meant to me, not only in this world, but of course in the hereafter, but in this world, when he would grab Al-Hasan al-Hussein alayhi salam, he say, Al-Hasan al-Hussein, humma rayhanatay min ad-dunya. Let's understand this now. Why did the Prophet say min ad-dunya? Did we ever thought about, sometimes when the Prophet has a hadith, you got to understand why. We know Al-Hasan al-Hussein are the youth of paradise, don't we? We all know this in every school of thoughts. But why does he say min ad-dunya? Why from this world? That they are this smell of essence, of greatness, of heavenly essence in this world. One hadith will explain to you how important it was. That's why he showed how this attraction or this love between the Holy Prophet and the connection between him and his offspring was all heavenly, because they reminded him of something. There's a hadith by a person, by Urwat al-Baraki. He says that one day I entered the Prophet's mosque. I entered the Prophet's mosque and I saw the Holy Prophet, and he had Al-Hasan al-Hussein alayhi salam playing alongside of him. He kept, going from one side to the other. Al-Hasan one moment, Al-Hussein one moment, holding him, kissing him, smelling him. So the guy walked in, he said to him, Ya Rasulullah, are they your children? He says, no, they are the children. They are my children, but they're also the children of my daughter Fatima. And they of my brother and my cousin, Ali ibn Abi Talib. They are my nafs, he tells them. They are my nafs. Nafsi nafsum. And my nafs is also their nafs. They are kurrata aini. These are what he's telling. He gives all these attributes about Al-Hasan wal-Hussein alayhi salam. Then he says to him, but you show this overwhelming love towards him. He says, let me tell you a story here. Because when I went to the Mi'raj, and for my brothers and sisters, anyone like the hadith says from Ahl al-Bayt, man ankara thalatha laysa minna. First of all, if you don't believe in three of these great events or periods that you will come across in your life or you heard of, you're not part of the lovers of Ahl al-Bayt. First one, al-Mi'raj. The second one, the question of the grave. And the third one, which most of us are here for as well, is that the intercession of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. So he says, when I was in the Mi'raj, when I went to the heavens, I went to a place and there was a tree there. It had the most beautiful smell. The beautiful smell. So Jibreel alayhi salam comes down and says, Rasulullah, are you fascinated by this smell? He says, yes. He goes, what about if you taste its fruit? So the Holy Prophet said, I was given the fruit of this beautiful tree and I ate it. Then I was taken to another tree. It looks similar, but its smell and its fruit taste even better than this. He says, and then Jibreel tells the Holy Prophet, are you fascinated by both these trees? He goes, in all of heaven, I've never seen any trees like this. He goes, do you know what the trees are called? He says, no. He says, for the first one is called Al-Hasan. And Thaniya, it's called, or Thaniyan, the second one is called Al-Hussein alayhi salam. He said that eat from these two trees. When you go, you will meet, this is the beginning of when he meets Khadija. He goes, when you go, you will marry a lady called Khadija. You'll go to a lady called Khadija alayhi salam. You from her will have a beautiful offspring called Fatima al-Zahra. Marry her to your brother and your wasi, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. When you have these two boys that will be born, call them Al-Hasan and Hussein. And every single time you yearn to smell those two trees, for Shimm al-Hasan wa Shimm al-Hussein. That's why he says that in this dunya, whenever I used to yearn for the smell of those two trees, I would smell Al-Hasan and I would smell Al-Hussein alayhi salam. This is how, why? Because everything that is heavenly is attributed to these great individuals. Because honestly, unlike what we talked about before, the smell, when a smell of strong smell like of smoke automatically absorbs into an individual, When you walk into a room that smells of fragrance of beauty, for instance, does that beauty rub onto you? Does it? Most of the time, does it? Like honestly, if I put a candle now of musk in this middle of room, doesn't matter how much I put of it, when I walk out of here, what's the chances of me walking out smelling like musk? It's very limited. Very limited. Why? Because it's more likely if I like that musk or that smell, I usually go and I find what the source is and I apply it to myself. Do you understand what I'm getting to now? That I apply this to myself. Then if I apply the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt to myself, and I do what they have ordained me to, that smell will automatically rub onto the soul. When it rubs onto my soul, then that of course shows out through the outer appearance of me. To show you or understand the better example what I'm trying to get to today is very important. It was said that a man once was very sick. He was very sick and he came to the point where he couldn't use water. So of course when you don't use water, you have to use dirt or some kind of soil that it's from the fuqaha say that you can do tayammum on. So he tells his son, go out, get me some dirt so I can do tayammum. As he goes and gets out the dirt from the garden, he comes back. As he's doing the tayammum, he noticed that the dirt has something beautiful smelling to it. He was sick at this time. He didn't really take notice of it. He hadn't notice of the dirt. He thought it was just normal dirt, but it captured his smell. When he got better, he said to his son, come here. He says, where did you get that dirt from? He said, I got it from your garden. He goes, but where? But why was it smelling? He said, I don't know, I'll show you. As he went, showed him what it was a rose petal bush. The rose petals had fallen onto the dirt, and over a period of time, that smell had absorbed into the dirt. And now the dirt started smelling like the roses. Can you understand what we get into here? You, all my brothers and sisters, are made from dirt. And you will return to dirt. But when you associate something with something beautiful, tayyib, like the Ahlul Bayt, then that aroma also becomes part of you. For instance, everyone knows the special type of dirt that smells differently in the world. What is it? The dirt of what? Karbala, Ahsan Sayyidina. Why does it smell different, but? Why is it? What made that actual land become smell of aroma, of essence? Of course, we all know the basic thing was the sacrifice of Imam Hussein. But because that he was made from heaven, and the heavenly part of him, that blood, that heavenly blood that was absorbed in that dirt, made that dirt smell heavenly, smell beautiful. Now, this is the miracle of Imam Hussein. Everything heavenly. When you associate yourselves with something heavenly, then that, of course, will rub onto you. And when I'm talking about rub onto you, I don't mean just, like most people when they go to the ziyarat, something reminds them of something and they get the hotar with them, don't they? Like, this is the hotar that reminds me of the maqam of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, or, Imam Hussein or Imam al-Rudha alayhi salam. You put it on. You put it on from the outside, yes, it reminds you. But what have you done on the inside of you? What have you done on the inside of you? It's the inside what counts. Why? Because when you actually follow the true attributes of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, then that aroma comes out through your a'mal. And like the smell, like when you walk into a room and you see and you smell that smell, the first thing captures you and you go, where did that come from? Where did that come from? And then you start, doing investigation. I want to know where it comes from. You find out when a person sees your a'mal, when a person sees you, that you are of the true madhab of the Ja'fari school. That's why the hadith says, "Kunu da'watan lana bighayri alsinatakum." Be of someone who conveys the message of God, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or to us without even your tongue, with your actions. That's the true fragrance. That's the true fragrance. Because even the Imam, when he uses this verse, he says afterwards, then they'll ask about other things. When they see that your actions, then after they'll ask, La yara minkum, first of all, al-wara'a, wal-ijtihad, wal-sala, wal-khair. After they see the a'mal of you, then they'll ask about your ijtihad, in terms of your knowledge, your wara is abstaining from sin, and your good khair, and the amal that you do that's good. But first of all, it's your actions that will bring attention to the people. And that's why when we come to events like this, these events remind us again of how to be a true servant of the Ahlul Bayt. Why? Because when you go out, like I said, saying the Imam goes, when you want that aroma to come out, he says it beautiful. Kunu zayna lana wala takunu shaynan alayna. How does this happen? How does this happen? How does that aroma come through you again? Once again, go back to the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt. Go back to the teachings of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Why? Because at the end of the day, each and every one of you, so when you have these characteristics inside of you, you become the conveyor of the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That's why the Quran says, الَّذِينَ يَبَلِّغُونَ رِسَالَاتِ اللَّهِ وَيَخْشَوْنَهُ وَلَا يَخْشَوْنَ أَحَدًا إِلَّا اللَّهِ. The ones who convey the message of God. Who are the ones that convey the message of God? It can be every person. Every person has the right characteristics, can be the conveyor of the message of God, especially the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. You know, most people say when it comes to the messages of God, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first of all, it's to the scholars. Yes, utmost first, it is to the scholars, because the scholars have dedicated their lives in the services of preaching the Ahlul Bayt. But it doesn't mean that the lawyer, the engineer, the laborer, the fallah, the farmer, you know, even the housewife cannot be a muballighun of the risali. Of course they can. Of course they can. This is very important that each one of them can be, of course, if you have the right characteristics. Why? Because even the Quran gives us examples of ordinary people that you probably read their story and they go, how did this person become one of the conveyors of the messages of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? For instance, most of us have read Surah Yasin when God talks, وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ يَسْعَى. Who is this person? Have you asked who he is? You know, from the ahadith they say his name was Habib al-Najjar. Habib al-Najjar meaning Habib the carpenter. This person, where he was a carpenter, yet he became a conveyor of the messages. Why? Because he had the right attributes. God saw that he had the right attributes. He absorbed this and he went forth and he obtained martyrdom as well. There's also the mu'min min Ali Fir'aun. And of course, the greatest of all the mu'mineen, and that was the mu'min of Ali Muhammad, and that is of course Aliun ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Allah. Muhammad. So when you have these attributes inside of you, you become a muballigh. You become someone that can convey the messages of God Almighty. There was said there was a scholar in Najaf, a scholar of taqleed, that people used to actually follow him. They used to follow his message. And he would say, for me to encourage people to convey the messages of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he would say, the marja would come in one day and he would say to his students, go up to the mambar, you know, and enlighten me. The students would be, this is the marja of taqleed. He would say, go up to the mambar and enlighten me. Because I myself, in mihtaj illa mawhada, that I need this uplifting, this mawhada. And the students would go up there. But look at the humbleness. He showed you why. Because you can. Don't think because you're this person that that most people think that you're just an ordinary person, that you don't convey the messages of God. When you have that aroma in you, people will be attracted to you. People will say, when you do something good, they're going to first thing they're going to ask you, why did you do that? For instance, when Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam, when he taught Jabir ibn Hayyan chemistry, you think about this now. When he taught Jabir ibn Hayyan chemistry, did he not know that in the future the chemistry field will expand? Of course he did. So when someone looks at Jabir, who's a chemist, they say to him, okay, where did you get your knowledge from? The smart ones are going to ask, where did you get your knowledge from? So when they ask where you get your knowledge from, it's going to go a backward step. This will lead to that, this will lead to that, this will lead to that. They'll go back to the original source of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam. See what I'm saying? This person, that's why we have fields. The Islamic history has proven that we got fields from algebra to mathematics. But when smart people that would go back and they'll see, where did this person come from? That person becomes a muballigh, the person, a conveyor of the message. But the greatest of all messages, of course, was that the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. When you understand the message of Imam Hussein, when you understand a message in which was enlightened by a whole attribute of how humanity should live, from the justice, from the equalism, to show you that that in a society that we don't look upon one another in different stages or categories, that we see one another as God's creation, that the only thing that differs between me and you is the stage of taqwa. Imam Hussein alayhi salam was that university. That's why he was the greatest of the muballighun when it came to the risala. And this is very important here, because remember the actual ayah says الَّذِينَ يَبَلِغُونَ رِسَالَاتَ اللَّهِ وَيَخْشَوْنَهُ وَلَا يَخْشَوْنَ أَحَدًا إِلَّا اللَّهِ. So he's saying that the messages were conveyed, but there has to be a certain attribute connected to that person. Someone who sees nothing except God. Someone who sees everything that he does, every step, every like part of him is connected to Almighty God. And of course, we have the lower step or the lower stage of taqwa. We'll never get to the stage of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, but at least that part of the message in this ayah reflects to people who have taqwa. People who have taqwa are the ones that can go out forth and convey the message of God. Because why? When Imam Ali alayhi salam speaks to Kumail, he says, Ya Kumail, ma min harakatan illa wa anta mahtajan fiya illa ma'rafa. Do you know what that means? That's basically it. Basically that when, oh Kumail, when you go forth in this world, every movement that you do has to be connected with God. Everything. The ma'rifah between you and God. What does God like and what does God dislike? That's all that cares. That's what's most important. These are the people that convey the messages of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what Imam Hussein did. And he paid the ultimate sacrifice for it. But at the end of the day, his legacy still lives. You know why? This is very important here. When Fatima al-Zahra salawatullah salam alayha came to show you that there's attributes that inherit that of the prophethood status. When she comes one day holding al-Hasan al-Hussein in her hands and she sees the Holy Prophet coming, she says to the Holy Prophet, these are Sibtain, these are your offsprings. He goes, warithuhuma, make them inherit something of you, Ya Rasulullah. When Fatima al-Zahra asks the Prophet this, she's not telling him, let them inherit something of this dunya, something physical. She's going to make them inherit something of the Nabuwah, of the prophethood of you. He says, فَأَمَّا الْحَسَنِ, first of all, Hasan, for he's got haybati wa su'dadi. He's got this hayba of me, this overwhelming charisma and majesty. He goes, وَأَمَّا الْحُسَيْنِ أَمَّا الْحُسَيْنِ فَهُوَ شُجَاعَةِ وُجُودِ. And he's got this strength and this generosity. And you think about this every person in history, whenever they go forth, the ones that understand the thawr of Imam Hussein, that's why we say hayhat min al-dhillah. Honestly, Imam Hussein taught us that it's better to live or to die fighting on your feet than to crawl like cowards on your knees and your legs in front of dhalims. No, stand up, be free men. And his generosity, wujudi, that this generosity lives up to today. Look at what's happening in the Al-Arbaeen today, in the Al-Arbaeen of Imam Hussein. Even in the name of Imam Hussein, how many people are being fed in the generosity of Imam Hussein? These attributes were given to him for us to see the azama of Imam Hussein, to know that he is the warith. Yes, he holds what we said before, the messages of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the greatest messages from Adam ila al-Khatam. He holds them all. That's why we say, Assalamu alaikum ya waritha Adam safwatullah, Assalamu alaikum ya waritha Nuhan Nabiyullah, Assalamu alaikum ya waritha Ibrahim Khalilullah, Assalamu alaikum ya waritha Musa Kalimullah, Assalamu alaikum ya waritha Isa Ruhullah, and the greatest of all, Assalamu alaikum ya waritha Muhammad Habibullah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa alihi. SubhanAllah, when I wanted to link this, the attributes of the inheritance of this, I inherit because, of course, Imam Hussein inherits not only from his grandfather, but and inherited mostly as well from his father, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. When the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi says to Amir al-Mu'mineen, or tells people, this hadith is also mentioned not just in the schools of Ahlul Bayt, but into other schools. He says, if a person, أَيَحِبُّ الشَّخْص أَنْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَى, he says, listen to this, إِلَى عِلْمِ آدَمِ. إِلَى عِلْمِ آدَمِ. And he goes, and the taqwa of Nuh, وحلم إبراهيم. He goes, وشجاعة موسى وعبادة عيسى ابن مريم فانظروا إلى علي ابن أبو طالب عليه السلام. Then you can imagine this. Those attributes, when I just read to you now the ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, I mentioned for you all those prophets, did I not? So that means Imam Hussein alayhi salam has the hilm of Adam as well, has the taqwa of Nuh, has the hilm of Ibrahim, has the courage of Musa, and has the ibadah of Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salam. In that person, because he's the inheritor of these great individuals. So for us to understand that we hold on to this message, then it's the fact is Imam Hussein is not just something that when he was sacrificed how many years ago, and he stood there and he says, Hal min nasir yansuruna, and he knew that all his companions were dead. He was talking to people like you. Do you want to carry the message that I solemnly fought for? Then this is what you need to do. This is what you need to have in you. First of all, you got to have taqwa. You got to know that what the true message is. That I went forth from the Medina to do aslah in this religion, to make sure the amr bil ma'ruf and nahy al munkar is obtained, and to re-alive the teachings of my grandfather and that of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. This is what brings Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is what brings Imam Hussein to the eyes of the people, and that's what brings it to your heart. Because at the end of the day, if Amir al-Mu'mineen sums up everything to show you that it's not just about saying that the factor or the difference between loving Ahlul Bayt and the mawadda of Ahlul Bayt, that saying that I love him, okay, it's good, but go to the next stage of showing them that your true wording is put into action. What have you put forth to Imam Hussein alayhi salam? Honestly, you ask yourself the question. What have you put forth? At least, simple things. If you're into any type of field, we can put something forth. In other words, the smallest thing. Give something in a way of Imam Hussein, whether it be knowledge, whether it be charity work, whether it be just informing the people of who this great individual is. Because at the end of the day, it's about the amal, going out and doing the action. Because Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam has said that if no one before me and no one after me will explain what is, it talks about, of course, I'm talking about the Ahlul Bayt. When it says that when I sum to you now the package of Islam, no one will ever sum to you like I am going to sum it up in these attributes. He says, أولاً al-din al-taslim, to submit. Okay, inshallah, all of us, we've done this. That's very good. Next thing, it travels from that to the physical heart, that of al-yaqeen, certainty. Then after the certainty, of course, comes the tasdeeq, to actually be truthful in this. Then comes al-aqrar, وبعد الأقرار al-amal. Now, this is what I'm trying to get to you. That last part of it is putting it into action. Put it into action. Each and every one of us put into action. Remember the sacrifice of Imam Hussein, to know that each and every one of us, and of course, the sacrifice when it comes to that of Imam Hussein, it's not an easy task. It's not an easy task at all. I will not say there has not been a prophet or a successor that's come forth and said that the task of the Muballighun has been very easy. No, it hasn't been. It hasn't been. If you compare the story of Jurjis and Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you understand how Imam Hussein was affected on the day of Karbala. I haven't got time to go into this, have I, Sayyidina? What's it? What's anyone got the time? Yeah, 8:40. I would have loved to go a bit more, but inshallah, all I can say is that I hope, first of all, that Imam Hussein accepts my deeds and your deeds. And of course, most important, the Imam of our time, Imam al-Hujjah alayhi salam. And that we are gifted the ziyarah of Imam Hussein, inshallah, in this world, and the shafa'ah in the hereafter. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي ابن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. هذه وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على محمد وعلى أهل البيت الطيبين الطاهرين.